Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Splain. And like and subscribe to us, please,
like and
people.
Subscribe.
Come on,
if you like what we're doing, comment. Do we have any comments?
We probably do, but I chose not to look at them because I want to be in a good mood.
Yeah, we're getting some that are, I think they're negative.
They're weird.
Confusing. Weird, like...
They're confusing, and they might be negative, but it's hard to tell if there's an emotional breakdown behind the words, or at least
kind of,
we're getting people paying attention.
Paying attention to, we'll get into that later. So,
so today we have Marcus Williams.
Hey, what's poppin'? How y'all doing?
We're doing fantastic. Marcus, I really wanted to talk to you because, of the I don't know if you still think of yourself as a newer comedian, but because I'm old and have been around forever, to me, you're still a newer comedian. And I would say, you are one of the best, and you have had...
Get into it.
Yeah. I definitely think you're one of the best. I think you're also very sought after because everyone knows that when they book you, they know what to expect. They know what they're getting. I think consistency more than anything really cements people as a professional. I don't think I've ever seen you have a bad set. Maybe not a set that you wanted to have, but still, I feel like your okay sets are better than most people's good sets, so that's something. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen...
Well, thank you so much for those kind words.
Of course.
I appreciate that coming from a comedic veteran.
That means I'm old.
Also introduce myself, Marcus. I'm Dan Rothenberg, and I was a comedian in San Francisco back in the 90s when Joe and I started together, and so it's really fun for us to sort of compare notes and talk about what it was like then, what it's like now to be to come up in San Francisco. And so how long have you been doing it?
This is my 9th year, I believe.
Ooh,
yes,
really?
Year 9. Yeah, not as young as I look. Okay, this is really good lighting that I have set up in my home. But coming up on 9 years that I've been doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
What got you started? What was there any driving ambition? You wanted to try it? What got you into it?
Yeah, so what got me into it was I was actually working a job in consulting at the time. I'm a structural engineer by trade, and I really hated it. I was miserable. I had a boss that I didn't like. I wasn't happy with the work. I feel like I wasn't getting the recognition that I wanted, and I felt like the corporation I was working for was greedy as fuck. So I was really unhappy there, and I told myself, if this is where I'm going to spend 40 hours a week, I have got to find something when I leave this office that's going to bring a little bit more joy or something that I want to do, because this is kind of draining, right? So I was looking for something that was going to just kind of lift my spirits up, something that I wanted to do, because I feel like the negative environment in the workplace was kind of spilling over into the rest of my life. And so I gave it some thought, and I said, you know what? I should try comedy. I've always wanted to try comedy. People be saying I'm funny or whatever. So I was like, let's try comedy. So I went to the San Francisco Comedy College, which I'm sure you all know about if you came up in San Francisco with, what's his name? Kurt, yes. And the rest is history.
Is that still around?
I think they are.
I remember that was after my time, but I remember being aware of
Curtis,
thank you. I said Kurt. Yeah, it's still there. I think it's changed format and location and all of that, because I think that they were affiliated with the Purple Onion at the time when I did it, and I don't even think that's there anymore. So I think that there's been some changes, but I do think it still exists in some mutated form.
Yeah. So was your first time going on stage? It was over there at the comedy college.
That's right. That's right. It was their graduation show at the Purple Onion, I think 9 years ago, was the first time that I ever got on stage. And I loved it. I had such a good time. I said, this is my shit right here. Like, I really like it. And then it was open mics, just going to open mics, regular, pounding the pavement the way everybody else does it. And then that kind of led to more solid bookings. And, now it's just on, however you go on to the next place, I guess, one step at a time.
What
And you still have a day job?
I still have a day job. I work Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to
So
5
smart.
p.m.
Comedians are smart.
That's right. Extremely,
These days,
extremely smart.
Stupidest thing I ever did was quit my day job at the time that was totally supportive and loved me. And I just thought, well, I'm a comedian, so I need to follow the mentorship of guys like Joe. It's true. We didn't know what we were doing.
Don't blame me. Oh my God.
Well, a little bit, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was this ethos of I can't work, I'm a comedian, but I should have stuck with it as long as they wanted to pay me.
Yeah, I think that I think a lot of people still do that. I think that I'm the one, as the person that kept their job, I think that I'm the person who's kind of the oddball out in many cases. I think so many of the comedians that are younger than me are moving. I mean, they still have jobs, but they're remote or they're part-time. They're not the, Monday through Friday corporate type things. And so I think there is a prioritization maybe of comedy that I think some of the younger folks do that maybe I don't, but I got bills to pay. And so I don't know that I'm not about to have 8 roommates. And I just, you know what I mean? Like, I've been in the corporate world for so long. There's just no way that, I had student loans. Like, there's no way that I could have just make the money that I needed to sustain myself. And so, yeah, I had to, and I still have to. So it is what it is.
There's nothing wrong with health insurance, man.
I went to the doctor 2 weeks ago. I said, what is going on with this ear? You know what I'm saying? So I love going to the doctor, actually. So, yeah, I like going. I might just book an appointment just to say what's up.
just to flaunt. I have health care. Yeah, how about that, open micers?
The dentist. You ever go to the dentist? You're like, God damn.
I walk into the dentist, and the dentist is like, cha-ching.
Right. Yeah. No.
How are you doing with your teeth, Joe? We haven't talked about that in 20 years.
Yeah, we haven't. I feel like it's the story of two Americas because, obviously a lot was going on here with this work, and then I'm gonna regret this, but I still have this, to work on.
Better, though.
So it's like a crooked Stonehenge thing going on, but I found someone who loves me, so
It doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter, right?
That was a wonderful toss-up. Joe, how are you doing with your teeth? That was...
Wait.
We haven't talked about
Joe's teeth. I don't know if you know, but Joe's teeth are that's been a journey.
There's been a lot of, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I mean, do you remember the braces era where I had braces, and then here's the thing: if you don't wear the retainer, right, everything gets crooked again.
Yeah.
And then of course, active addiction really helps with not giving a damn about your teeth.
Right. Right.
So that was, they just totally let them go. Didn't even think about them. But actually, I've got some dental appointments coming up in the near future to take a look at just like, I'd like to turn 60 with a full smile. And while I still have my own teeth, I might as well,
Yeah, you still got them. You know what I'm saying? You might as well utilize them and,
Absolutely.
Hold them up, get them where they need to be at, show them compassion and love and care.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, Marcus. Like, little bit deeper here. You're a very proud gay man on stage.
Who are you calling gay? No, I'm just kidding. Yes,
which is awesome. But did you ever have any reluctance about talking about it? Did you ever how far do I want to go with this? Did you ever have any inner struggle with yourself by putting that out there?
Never. I think no. I think that I think part of that might be because so I think part of that is one, coming into the comedy world as a place where I was just gonna have fun, right? And so coming at it with a sort of very, I'm having fun, I'm gonna be free with this. This is something I'm doing for fun in my part time. I think that's part of it. But I also think that it took me longer to come out than maybe a lot of people, and so I had blown past the place in my life where I gave a fuck about what people were going to say about my sexuality. I think that, yeah, so I think those two things never made that an issue for me. Yeah, it was, I couldn't even think about, I mean, some of my oldest jokes are about me being gay. You know what I mean? It was the first thing that came to mind to have fun with, so there was never really any hesitation about it.
Have you ever?
Can I jump in? For
Yeah.
On that note, so I was an out queer comedian in San Francisco back in the day, and there was this sense of kind of the history of it. So when I was late 90s, I was talking about my sexuality at the Punchline in Cobb's and Josie's Cabaret and Juice Joint. Have you heard of that?
Never.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so that was the sort of historic gay comedy club. And so back then, my question is, I had a sense of where I fit in and kind of the order and history of it. So you had initially like the Tom Amianos, and he's a supervisor now who was a comedian, and then came Scott Capurro and Scott Silverman, and Sabrina Matthews, and then it was more of then I came after them, and there was this sense that that it was once underground and even dangerous. To talk about it. And is that what's can you relate to any of that? Is there?
No. I'm just kidding. I've never really felt that, gay subject matter was sort of dangerous or sort of this third rail or something that couldn't be talked about. I've never really felt that way. It wasn't something and I also felt like you kind of talked about how you felt like there was some order, like you were kind of following in somebody's footsteps, kind of like you mentioned Scott Capurro and some of the others who came before him. I guess I've always felt like there has never been an openly black gay comedian that I knew of that was out there. And so it kind of just felt like I was just having a good time and going to do whatever the fuck I wanted to because I didn't see anybody like me. Right. So there was never anybody out there that I saw doing what I was doing. I felt like the gay, I won't say gay comics because I don't know that I started with a bunch of them, but I will say that like doing stand-up in the Bay Area the gay community has always felt predominantly white. And so that space was kind of like not my thing because I grew up in Atlanta, which is a very black space, a very black gay place in particular. And so the sort of predominantly white gay environment, I think wasn't really my thing. So I never really paid attention to it. It wasn't really something that I wanted to be, I won't say wanted to be a part of, but I never really sought it out. It wasn't a place that felt like that was rolling out the red carpet or that I felt particularly welcome. And so, so that environment wasn't where I was going. And I think just to tie it all together, I think I'm out here doing my thing. I'm about to do whatever the fuck I want to do because I'm trying to have a good time. This is fun. I always wanted to try stand up. Let's go. You know what I mean? I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a role model. It was just sort of like, let's get it, let's have a good time with this. And so yeah, I just kind of went for it.
Seems like a great place to start. A great attitude.
Yeah.
You're just being yourself, doing it for you.
Right. And I think some of that's probably luck too. I think I never really thought that it was something that would be the sort of primary endeavor that I was doing. It was just a hobby. You know what I mean? I had a full-time job. I still do. I was working the whole time. This was just a hobby, right? It wasn't something that I was taking so seriously. And so I think that now I take it far more seriously than I did then, so it's taking more of a priority in my life. But because it was just a hobby, just something to have fun with. I don't know that I approached it with a level of seriousness that maybe some other people who are starting out in it do.
That's interesting, though, because I think maybe that attitude is why you advanced to where you are now. You're just like, I'm having fun.
Yeah, when you don't give a shit, it radiates.
That's always the secret.
Of desperation.
Yeah.
I'm also, this is kind of interesting to me, like, Dan, when you talk about the history, right, of gay comedy in San Francisco, I feel like there was definitely a gay comedy scene, and then there was definitely a straight comedy scene,
Yeah,
and there was
and
very little mixing. Very little mixing.
Much.
But I think what's kind of fascinating, I think, Dan, you were part of that last wave that paved the road for other comics to just come on the scene, right? And it didn't matter if you were gay or straight. Now we also, we have the transgender community. But I think you were that last generation in the city that was just like, hey, I'm a comedian who happens to be gay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think, Marcus, you're jumping into the scene at a time when, there isn't a big deal placed on your sexuality. It's just like, he's funny and he happens to be gay.
Right.
I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but it's also interesting to hear you say, though, that there's a perceptible difference between the white gay community and whatever black gay community you can find in the Bay Area. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So, there just isn't a large black gay community in the Bay, period. If one of the things that I tell black gay men in particular who move here from Atlanta or LA or DC, I'm like, this ain't that. Like, you cannot, like, if you want a space to show up in where there's going to be a whole bunch of black gay people, like, this ain't it. This just isn't that. You're not going to get that here. I think the Bay is a far more multicultural, sort of mixed up space. And so I think that's one thing that I tell folks who are coming from Atlanta or some of these cities that are far more black. It's not here in the way that it is in other sort of large cities. I think that's, so the way, you know how gay San Francisco is, right? Like, I would say the black equivalent to that is Atlanta, Georgia. And so imagine that, like, you have a twink bar and a gay bar and a bear bar, and all of them are predominantly black. Like, everybody is black at all these spaces, all these times. There are places like that that exist, but they ain't in California.
That's amazing.
And so so when you talk about comparing, like, the sort of like a thriving black gay community to San Francisco, it's like apples and oranges. Like, there just isn't really one here. It used to be better. I will say that there used to be, like, monthly black gay clubs. There was Club Anton that happened. And then there was, like, the Some Brothers, which was like a quarterly event for black gay, men, particularly in San Francisco. I've heard from some of the gay elders that the Box in the Castro used to be where the black gay guys went years and years ago, but that has since closed down. So I think whatever sort of space there was for black gay men in particular, it just isn't here anymore. I think those are more, now it's kind of more like you create your own community, have a little house party. Maybe you and some of your, guys will go out to the bars or something after you kick it at somebody's house, but a sort of larger community that exists for black gay men, I think it's just so small here.
Have you performed in Atlanta?
I have. I've done the Red Clay Comedy Festival and the Laughing Skull Comedy Festival.
How was that for you, being out there and performing?
It was great. Those spaces were predominantly heterosexual. But you're always going to get a few more black gay queers in the audience. You know what I mean? When you're in Atlanta. So Atlanta's just a fun place. It's where I grew up. So I enjoyed it. I think sometimes I hope that there is at least a queer component to the audiences, because I feel like that's just like a safe landing space. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say what the fuck I'm going to say. These are the jokes that I wrote. This is what I'm talking about. And so hopefully I want people to receive it and laugh at it and enjoy it. But if they don't, then, I'm sorry. Maybe there's somebody else,
I can remember seeing you a couple of times when, and let me ask you about this because it's fascinating. And I mean, as a comedian, I think we've all experienced this. There's been a couple times you're on stage, you're doing your material, and you're looking at the audience, and you made a comment like, "Yeah, I'm this gay," or "Get used to it."
Right.
Did you, in those moments, do you feel like there's a big chunk of the audience that's pushing back on your material, and you're just like, "This is me. This is what I'm doing."
Usually what I sense in moments like that is discomfort. There's like a shock and an awe, and folks, it's just like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? Like, what is going on here? And I don't know what to do to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have another gear. This isn't, this is who I am. I think I have, done some work on myself about, getting nervous before sets and wanting the approval of the audience. And at the end of the day, I think that I can't go into it like that. I have to do this the way that I want to do it and approve of it myself and like what I'm saying myself. And so if I'm doing that and I'm smiling up there and I have a good time, and you're not liking it, I'm so sorry, but I kind of don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because this is who I am and these are the jokes that I've written. And so I don't know what to do with it. I want them to enjoy it. Obviously, I want every set to be amazing for everyone, but it just doesn't work that way.
What I find so cool and interesting about stand-up is it's all about being okay with yourself. That's what it all. That's to me. When you eat. In my experience, if I go up and eat it, it's actually not even about the crowd. That's about me.
It's
crawling into
true.
myself and losing my mojo and losing my confidence. And I can have a good. You can have a good set in front of a shitty crowd if you're feeling good about yourself, and you know that they're just not getting me, but this is me. Then everything's fine.
Yeah.
So,
I think, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, for instance, let's say, again, it comes down to you being you. Let's say a comedian, or you were to say to yourself, okay, what would be a good hook? Maybe I'll lean into being gay, right? Maybe I'll consciously be that and make that my persona on stage. If the crowd gets weird, you're going to get weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this was supposed to work out, and it's not working, and now I'm gonna kind of bail on it. But if you're doing it for you, that's what comedy. That's what makes comedians successful.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think if you're kind of solid in who you are, then what others are going to say or how they receive it doesn't really matter as much, right? Because you're coming into it as yourself. I think I have done some work too surrounding, I think, getting really nervous. And I think I would get really nervous about, performing. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? And then I had to kind of unpack that and say, this is about me wanting their approval. And I think you can't really go into it like that. You have to already provide your own approval and be comfortable with what you're saying. If the jokes that you're telling aren't really sitting right with you or you're not confident in them, then work on that. But you can't go into it looking for anybody's approval. You have to be doing it because the shit that you're saying is funny in your opinion, and my shit is funny as fuck in my opinion. Like I love going back. Sometimes I hear myself, like if I'm smiling on stage, I truly think that what is coming out of my mouth is funny. Like I think the shit is funny. I really do.
Yeah. You said that when you first came into it, right? It was a hobby and you wanted to bring some joy and light to your life. Do you remember, so maybe this is two questions. Do you remember a moment on stage, like you told a joke and you're like, oh, that's how I want to write all of my material? And do you also remember like a moment when you were like, I got to take this more seriously if I want to move forward?
So the first question, I don't think that there was one moment when, I think the apply yourself joke has lasted. I think that's one of the earliest jokes I've written. And it still works just as well. You know what I mean? I think that one is like, I kind of wish that all of them could be that good. Or I shouldn't say that good. I think I'm like a guaranteed reaction, the way that one has worked over the years. But I don't think that, I don't recall the first time I told it or thinking, oh, I always, want to feel like this. I just think that the way that it feels when everybody starts cracking up laughing, no matter what I say, no matter what, that's the thing that I like the most, right? So yeah, I just love that. And then the second question about was when I like
Yeah,
was it,
when did you take it serious? Like 2 years in, 3 years in, was there something that happened where you're like, I kind of like this. I'm going to take it a little bit more seriously.
I think I don't know. I would say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And honestly, it was about a lot of comedians who were younger than me that were getting passed at the punchline, and I was like, okay, this is some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I need to step this up. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting passed by because I'm just not working or like not showing up and doing like the basics. I think that was a moment for me. And then also, I think social media, unfortunately or fortunately, depending upon how you look at it, has played a part in that as well. You see things blowing up, people getting these opportunities. And I hate that it's kind of rooted in the success of others instead of this intrinsic motivation, you know what I mean? Which has always been there. But I think to your point though, as I have started to take it more seriously, it's like I want more from this. And it's like, okay, well, how do I get more from this? You got to go to social media. You got to build a bigger following. You got to do bigger shows, right? And so how do you get booked on the bigger shows? How do you get the followings? You got to put stuff out there. So I would say about 4 to 5 years ago when I started to see people blowing up in social media and getting these huge bookings in a way that I wasn't. And also, just getting passed at nightclubs was when I thought to myself, okay, you can also do that, but you're just going to have to put in a little bit more work, right? If no one is just going to give it to you, it's not going to be brought to you. If this is truly what you want, then you're going to have to put in some work, start getting after it. So
How much time do you put into social media? And I'm asking, like, because I'm struggling with that. I feel like I'm aging out in a certain way, and I'm trying to find that social media audience. But everybody seems to agree that social media is the path forward, but nobody knows what that silver bullet is.
Yeah, and I don't know that there is one. I think how much time am I spending on it? Too much. Like,
Great.
I can tell you what I have done that has been successful recently. So I would say if I could add up the amount of time I spend on Instagram every day, it would probably be like probably an hour or two, right?
Okay.
Just scrolling or looking or posting.
On your stuff, like on your putting out your creative content, or just scrolling?
I would say on my own creative content, maybe 5 to 10 hours a week just on my own stuff, and then maybe another 30 to 45 or 30 minutes to an hour just scrolling a day maybe. And I think that those are related though, because
Yeah.
so I'll tell you what I did. So I had a whole set of mine chopped up into pieces that I've been releasing on social media every other day, right? And I've told myself this is enough material that lasts me 2 months. I'm noticing, and I started posting it every other day, right? Every other day, just post one of these clips. It doesn't take much time. But I've noticed that when you start doing that, I think the app knows that you're there, that you're using it more. And so it starts pushing your content out a little bit more. The more your content goes out, the more you start getting these notifications that people are watching it, which draws you back into the app. So it's kind of this sort of self-fulfilling thing. They're trying to get you. You know what I mean? They want you to be on there all the time. So it's hard to separate what am I doing for my own benefit? How much time am I spending on this on my own material versus how much time am I just scrolling? They're sort of meshed up at this point. I don't even fucking know anymore, right? Then people start sending DMs and sending you messages, and then it's you're just on there. It's fucked up how they get you in there, but they do.
What about writing though? Like, where do you have time to sit and write, or what is your process for creating new material, and how much time are you giving that?
Yeah, so that's where I'm lacking at this point. I think I was just thinking about that earlier today. Like I have a couple of things festering, some premises that are underdeveloped. And I think because in March I have like just a light calendar, I'm going to focus a lot of the time on just kind of writing every day. Best case scenario is I'm setting a timer for 30 minutes every day and just writing some stuff out and coming back to it. This past couple months, that hasn't really happened at all. This has just been about fine tuning.
And do you write on stage? Do you get on stage and kind of work it out there?
No, I'm very, I want to be able to do that. I admire folks that can, but I can't. Like, If I feel a whole bunch of people looking at me when I'm on stage and I don't know what I'm about to say next, I kind of get lost. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with that.
So you're literally writing stuff out. You're spending time writing it out, and then you're taking it on stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, some people, it's almost like, some people sit down and have to write and craft and then officially try it. Other comedians, it's just always floating around and you're kind of always writing and always trying.
Yeah. My stuff is floating around, but if I tried to just say it on stage the way it's floating around, it would be so wordy and jumbled, it'd be all over the place. So I gotta distill it down in writing, write it out, and then say it, and then I can start modifying that and smaller changes from there. But it has to get out in some organized fashion before I can bring it to a stage.
And can I jump in for a second? Just back to the point how we were talking about being yourself and navigating through maybe difficult audience. Have you ever had that moment, like you're on the road, you're in Oklahoma or something like that, and you're up there, and it's 2 minutes in, and you got maybe 30 to go, and it's like, this is good. They are not ready for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's that like? Like, they are.
Have you had that happen?
Yeah.
Never at 2 out of 30, but I have had some predominantly heterosexual crowds that just did not care to hear this gay ass shit. Like, that has happened. And when that happens, there is like a little bit of panic that sets in, but at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. Like, this is what you gonna get. You know, this is all I got. What do you want from me?
This is it.
This is it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, you should have talked to the person that booked me, okay? Because they thought that this would be a great place for me to be at. And I don't want to be here either at this point, but this is what I got. This is what you gonna hear. And I'll kind of turn up the volume on what I'm saying anyway, out of that insecurity, right? Because what am I going to do here? You know, it's kind of like fight or flight.
Will you kind of take the fourth wall down with the tension and just acknowledge?
Yeah.
Even what you just said right now, that's funny. That would work.
Yeah. No, that's what I did. It was this, it was an event during NBA All-Star Game, or NBA All-Star Weekend. And they was like, oh, you gay as fuck. Like, and I was like, you know what? I know you don't like this gay ass shit, but this what the fuck you gonna hear. I'll beat the shit out of some of y'all if you want to act. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what else to do, but that's what I had to give them because you got 20 more minutes of this. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get into it.
You ever get comments after the show from audience members or?
You know what? Very rarely will someone come up to me after a show and give me criticism. Usually the only people that come up to me are with compliments. It's been a couple times that I can think of where people were like, that was just not good. But most of the time, even at that NBA All-Star Game show, this dude dapped me up and was like, I know that was probably rough for you to get through, but you did that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times in that particular case, women will come up and be like, thank you for adding some gay space to this room. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually, I don't get a lot of negative feedback, honestly. Most of the time it's positive.
That's good.
You ever do like the Russian River or any of that stuff? Is that still around?
I haven't done it. I want to say I haven't done the Russian River, but that sounds familiar. Like, I feel like somebody's running a show up there and asked me about it, but I haven't done it, but I think it exists. If that makes sense.
I think it's still going on, Dan. I think but it's interesting. I don't think it's as big a deal as it once was because, again, it's like, it's fascinating to me to like, so I'm looking at the two of you on my screen right now, and it's really fascinating the different eras that you each represent, you know, and I think because, Dan, when you were doing it, there still was very hard lines. You know, there's the gay comedy circuit and there's the straight comedy circuit, and a few people were allowed to pass in between. And I think the Russian River was the gay Riviera, right? There was a bunch of comedy shows that were up there that were like, if you could get on, it was a big deal. Now, since there's just comedy and there happens to be some gay comics, that's not that big of a deal anymore. And which is fascinating because it seems like, hey, we have some equality and some equity in that space, and as a result, it's actually diminished the importance of some of those spaces.
Although I'm sure there's still a market for it. And
Oh,
because
absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
Pride Month and parties and stuff where they want to hire comedians that happen to be gay or gay comics or whatever.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But it is fascinating. Like, yeah, you know, I mean, because you were talking about the history. I can't tell you when Josie's juice joint closed, but I remember it being a really big deal, and a lot of people in the gay community really being let down. Like, there was so much historic comedy that came out of that.
The idea was at the time that was the only place you could see an out gay comedian.
Yeah, yeah.
Back probably late '70s, whenever it came about. Yeah,
I remember
that was
being
sort of
there as an audience member and just getting like people giving me dirty looks for being straight, you know, and it was just like but it was
they could tell you were straight.
yeah, how I know, right? How could they tell it? But I mean,
there's a flavor for that.
but it wasn't. I mean, I'm saying dirty looks, but it was more just like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but again, those borders were very hard. As much as we wanted to think, hey, it's San Francisco and we're all in this together and love is love, there was still some I don't want to say animosity, but there was different camps. You know what I mean? Like, it was, and there was like Scott Capurro found a way to move between those worlds. You know, but I remember him getting grief, you know, sometimes from the gay community for being in a straight club. And, you know, I remember you getting grief from Capurro, you know, for some choices you were making on stage and how you were talking about things. I mean, it just...
Is stuff still, on that note, is comedy still like gossipy and judgmental and...
Fuck yeah.
You should do it this way or you shouldn't do it this way?
Well, I mean, Marcus, what do you think? I mean, you're much more enmeshed in the local scene at a granular level than I am. There's gossip, there's beefs.
Because I don't know, what are you featuring the clubs, opening the clubs? What clubs do you work? Add that in to your answer.
Yeah, so I'm a feature at Punchline and Cobb's. Yeah, and then I perform anywhere wherever you ask me to is where I'm about to go. So I guess now I'm focusing on festivals and try to travel a little bit more, Instagram, getting some followers up. So hopefully, does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then gossipy, chatty, you know, I'm trying to think. So I feel like gossipy, chatty, not about subject matter. I think that there's I think it's like who's a creep and who's not. Which of these male comics is out here touching people or acting stanky or fucked what you call and was nasty in the bedroom, or it's more about their social, who they are as people. Are they good people? Are they nasty? Do they have like assault? Are they roofing? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff is what I find to be what's happening.
See, that's good, isn't it?
I think so.
Because there was a lot of creeps. Yeah. And I'm sure there still are, but creepiness was protected in our era, and that's just, you look back and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I don't hear much judgment about what they can and can't say. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that as much. I think what people will say is, oh, that's hack, or that's that all his shit is hack, but not like
I don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone is providing a sort of like a running commentary about the quality of one's subject matter. I don't think that's happening behind the scenes or in the comic circles.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, there's some evolution, I think, in the social scene. Let me ask you this: do you have a favorite place to perform?
I would say the Punchline. I think a good night at the San Francisco Punchline when the people are like going crazy. I don't know that there's a place that matches that. I think also there's some sentimental value. Y'all know the process for getting past at the Punchline is just such a fucking downer. And so to go through that and then come back there and then everybody's going crazy for you and you're having a really good night, I think that really kind of cements it. I would say the Punchline probably.
Yeah.
does this, with your success in comedy, I mean, is it affecting your motivation at your day job a little? You're a unique person in that it sounds like you have a good career. You're like,
Yeah, I think that's accurate to say. Yeah.
yeah. And do you feel the push pull of that?
Not yet, because I track how much money I make per month in comedy, and it ain't hitting on shit. So so as long as comedy is not stacking up to this other paycheck, we don't have anything to talk about as far as I'm concerned. That's where the social media thing comes in. Like, I'm not just gonna stop working full time to like grind. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I say that like condescendingly, and I don't.
That's a great place to be. If your day job is holding you back from doing certain gigs, fuck them.
Right, and you know
that's called self-worth, isn't that, Joe? Have you heard about that?
I don't know.
We didn't have that.
I made every wrong choice along the way. I mean, but it is good to hear. Like, I feel like, yeah, there was also a time, like, if you had a day job, you were looked down on. I was like, well, you're not a real artist. And that has changed because, I mean, cost of living has gone up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all that. And you can't, and the ironic thing, Dan, is like there was so few, I mean, there's so much more stage time now. And you are getting paid a little bit, emphasis on the little. But yeah, you know, we were giving up day jobs for like peanuts, you know, to be like, well, I'm a real comedian and I'm going on the road to Modesto.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
and I get to sleep. It was fun. It was
there was some fun there.
It's a fun phase of life when you're just like, you're hooking up with people and you're sleeping in till noon. And they got to go to work, and you're just like,
hey, can I borrow money for a cup of coffee?
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
it catches up with you, like from age 22 to 25.
Yeah.
So, okay. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm just looking at our time, and so let me preface this next question with this. So I can edit anything.
Okay.
Right. And with that being said, so I'm in recovery, and you know that was a very public experience for me. You know, I came out of a blackout on stage at the Punchline, and to this day, you know, I get so many different stories from people. Everybody who claims to be there could not have been there, right? But if I said half of the stuff that I said on stage, holy shit. And I thought I had burned that bridge forever, and I was never going to perform stand-up again. And I feel incredibly fortunate that Molly, you know, had known me forever and invited me back. And, you know, now I have more locally than I ever thought possible. Anyway, all of that is to say, I know you have talked on stage a little bit about your recovery journey. And if you're comfortable, can you give me more details around that? And if not, we don't have to.
Sure. And also congratulations to you for the work that you put in. You know, I'm about 2 years in, and I know how difficult it's been for me. So, yeah, congratulations to you. I'm happy to talk about it. I'll edit myself as necessary. No, I think, you know, a couple of years ago, it just got to the place where I was like miserable, just unhappy. I had started... even before that, really, I mean, you know, just calling in sick to work and like just really unhappy. I had been in therapy for quite some time. I think it all started where so I would, you know, have therapy sessions, and it would be every time that we had made or I had had an issue, it would always come back to drinking. Every time. Like I didn't accomplish this because I got drunk, or I set this goal for myself and didn't accomplish it because I got drunk. And then I would be hungover, and then I'd be upset because I got drunk, right? So eventually, and I had negotiated for a long time. We're not going to drink on Saturdays. We're only going to drink on Friday. We're only going to drink between the hours of 4 and 7. Only on the second Wednesday of every month. Like any sort of negotiation that you can do to continue to drink was what I was doing. And then I finally just said, okay, this isn't working after some years of that. So 2 years ago is when I said, okay, we just got to stop. You know what I mean? Like, this just has to stop. There's no other choice. You've tried everything else that you can talk about. And so, yeah, so I stopped at that point, and I think it's been good from there. I think it hit I was really scared, honestly, when I first gave it up. I wasn't sure. I just felt like really alone, and I wasn't even sure what I liked anymore. I wasn't sure whether I actually liked the people I was hanging around or whether I just wanted to drink. I wasn't even. I was really scared, honestly, that when I stopped drinking, I wasn't going to want to do comedy anymore because I couldn't even really think about like I couldn't remember the last time I got on stage and wasn't at least tipsy. And so I was like, do I even really like going to these clubs and doing comedy, or was this just like a place to drink? Like I was really like everything was kind of flipped on its head, and I had to kind of figure out if this was something that I want to go back to. I was not sure. I was just like, we're just going to kind of see what happens. But fortunately, a couple weeks of sobriety, I was like, I need to hit stage. This is getting boring as fuck over here. So then, yeah, I kind of got back into comedy, and I was really happy that the itch came back. But yeah, that's kind of my journey. It was a long time struggle. I had been in therapy a while ago, and my therapist had suggested that I stop drinking. And I was like, who does this bitch think she is? You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't ready to hear it. But then it just, I started to just be honest with myself about the toll it was taking and the way that it was making me feel. And then cocaine use started to get a little bit too much. And so that's what kind of really just made me like, okay, we got to let this go.
I love that you talk about it on stage. I love that you bring it up on stage, and you bring it up in a very matter-of-fact way. And I feel like there's times you started talking about it and the crowd doesn't even realize you've shifted gears, because you're also doing this thing that I think is really, it takes a lot of talent, and maybe you're not even aware of it, but you're talking about everything with the same level of enthusiasm. So when you shift from being gay to talking about recovery, and then your own recovery story and your process of it is different, but it's fascinating to me to watch the audience when you shift. And I also remember watching you one night at Cobb's, and you were talking about doing Buddhist style recovery. And then you just stopped, and you're like, that joke is not ready at all. And it was hilarious, but I also felt like the crowd was so with you, and just they were loving you, that it didn't diminish your set in any way.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I think, what I have been surprised about, and I wasn't expecting, was once I started talking about it, how many people would come up after and be like, oh, I'm 3 years sober, or I'm 4 years sober. I just wasn't really on my radar that people were gonna support me in that way, or that the stuff that I was saying was gonna resonate with them in that way. It was more so just about me making a joke about my own kind of private life. And so to hear other people like it and enjoy it was a sort of kind of built a bridge to other communities and other people that I was never expecting. I never thought that like I would be making somebody in their recovery crack the fuck up because they're also in recovery. It just never really clicked in my mind that would happen, but it was really refreshing when it did. So yeah, thanks
cool.
for that.
Yeah, I really like the way you described that. I'm sober as well, and I got sober really young, and then I started comedy, but I had the same experience then when I quit smoking. Literally, like, do I even want to perform? And what?
Yeah.
I had to rediscover that I loved it. I sensed that I did, but I would be going to Cobb's, everybody's smoking, and now I got nothing. Right?
Right.
And I'm just being uncomfortable, but then I would get on stage and I was zoned in.
Yeah.
And that was, did you ever notice that? Like, wow, I am present.
Yeah, I think
drinking.
Yeah, I think I have noticed that. I think it's taken a while. I think it's almost like there's this it's almost like the shows in sobriety get like bifurcated. It's almost like there's this, I'm almost like on edge before, well, especially when I first stopped, it was like I was on edge before, you can't drink, you got to stay away from the booze. And then I would get on stage and it would be like, ooh, that was good. And then I'd be like, I got to go home. Right? You have to leave, you got to get out of this environment, right? And so it was like, it's almost because the focus on like just performing and then leaving was so intense that I never really kind of zoned into how I'm feeling on the stage in the moment, or like felt like more zoned in. It almost felt like, okay, task completed, let's get out of here. You know what I mean? It was more so this whole buildup of getting through it and then getting out of there um, that I didn't really notice that I was like more zoned in. But I do know that like I'm more willing to try new things. I've become more confident in myself with being sober, and so yeah, that's what I've noticed. It's like there's an increase in confidence, and I'm having, I think, more fun. Right? It was like it almost felt like when I was doing it tipsy and drunk, it was like this show is interrupting my drink time. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, so now it feels like I'm there to do this and I'm having more fun with it and I'm more laid back and I can try new things and I have confidence in myself and I feel good when I'm up there. So I like that.
Yeah. Now I remember when I quit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Oh, that's all right. I just remember when I quit. Like suddenly, I came into my own, and everyone was like, "What are you doing different?" You know,
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just not getting stoned, and I'm not drinking, so I can remember and I can be in the moment, and yeah. But Dan, go ahead.
I was going to say we're about at that time where we ask our wrap up question.
The
that
big
we ask
question.
everyone. Now, Marcus, you've been at it for about 10 years. You've got two very successful careers all going at once. You've worked your way up to feature in the competitive city of San Francisco. And
Thank you, Dave Attell.
anyway, question is, do you feel like a success?
Not really. No, I mean, no.
You're a comedian.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
passed the test.
Right.
No.
I mean, how would I be a success? Like nobody.
Oh,
puts in my-
I don't.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely
I'm not
not.
saying you are.
No.
I know I'm not.
You don't
Right.
feel like a success, though. You feel like there's still.
No.
You've accomplished. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's amazing. That's such a
How
consistent.
consistent that answer is.
We've asked every comedian. So far, only one comedian has said,
One.
"Yeah, one."
Who's
Like
that psychopath?
Paco Romaine,
Oh gosh.
who's now in
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Right,
But, you know,
right.
but you know
Yeah,
what?
but you're right. He's
But
got-
you know what? I think it's an internal thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, there are all these external rewards we're aiming for that we want, but it is fascinating. Like, it's not a small feat to be featuring at the Punchline and Cops in a town that is known for unique stand-up comedy. Like, that's not a small feat, and it's fascinating. Every time we ask that question, almost without fail, people are like, "No, I don't feel like success."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I'm proud of myself. I feel happy and encouraged by the efforts that I have, put forth to get to where I'm at.
Notice the emotional detachment. From this. I'm proud of I'm theoretically
Right? Yeah.
proud of myself.
I think in order for me to feel successful at this, I would need to be able to like sustain myself off of it. And I can't do that. There's no way for me to pay my rent or my car went out, I got to get a new transmission. There's no way for me to comedy ain't putting in the money for that transmission. You know what I mean? Like I just can't. I'd be eating McDonald's and Pop-Tarts. Like there's just no way that
I know.
can't, Yeah, I'm proud of myself, but there's no way I could consider myself successful.
Well, maybe who knows, man? I mean, in a year or two, everything could change. Who knows? I mean, we've seen it happen. So, well, Marcus, continued good luck with you, man. It's been a pleasure watching you grow.
To meet you.
A pleasure to meet you all as well. Thank you, Joe, for having me. Nice to meet you, Dan. This is fun.
Yeah, well, we'll
I
have you
enjoyed
back
this.
once you're a big success.
I'd be happy to come back. Yep.
And like and subscribe us, folks,
Like
please.
and subscribe to the Splain. We got so many interesting, hilarious comedians. Just
We
for
do.
you.
All right.
We'll
Peace
see you
out,
next
everyone.
week.
All right. Bye-bye.